So I often get asked a lot of questions that fall under the category of team appreciation and team recognition, which I guess makes sense. I mean, obviously, you are the type of person that cares a lot about making sure that your team members feel supported and feel appreciated by you, which I absolutely love. And I can definitely relate to that. I mean, I remember one of the priorities for me when I first jumped into my role was making sure that my team members knew I appreciated them. Now, I will say, if we're keeping it real on this channel, that part of that was driven from me wanting them to like me. But that's a discussion for a whole other day. But today, what I want to talk about is essentially how you can show appreciation to your team members in a very genuine way, even though like the budget might not be there, or maybe the budget is minimal, or like maybe it's just like straight up not there. How do you still show your team members that you value them? That's what I want to talk about today. So if that sounds like something that you want to learn more about, then tap the like as well as the subscribe button and let's get started. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mac and I'm a leadership coach, but I actually work specifically with first-time managers in helping them become effective leaders. And so if that's you, if you're a high achiever and you're new to people management and you really want to learn the leadership skills required to build an awesome sauce team culture, and also so that you feel confident in your role, then I definitely want you to check out the details for my new Manager Accelerator program, which is actually my signature program created for new leaders exactly like you. Okay, so like I said, today we're talking about team appreciation. So as I was meditating about what I wanted to talk about in this video with you, I was reminded of this great article I read many years ago in HR magazine. Now, because of the fact that it was many years ago, I'm a little hazy on the details, but what I do remember is that they did this like intense study of with 500 employees and asked them what they needed at work in order to thrive. And what made it on the top 3 list was feeling appreciated, or team appreciation, essentially. And the reason why that study stuck out to me so much is not necessarily because that made it in the top 3, because I think we all pretty much know that team appreciation is necessary. But what really stood out to me is that 65% of them said that they did not feel appreciated by their managers. It's pretty sad, right? And you know, I want to believe, because I always like to invite empathy into these conversations, I want to believe that just a lot of managers don't know how to do it. I don't think it's necessarily because they don't want to. I want to believe in my heart of hearts that it's because many managers do not know how. Now, I will say, like, people will do the work you ask them to do because that's who they are. They're just going to do it. But it is still really important to like show them appreciation for their efforts and putting in the effort to do what they're doing. Like I've heard some managers say in the past, clearly we're not great managers, but I've heard people say like, well, their paycheck is enough. Like I'm paying them. Shouldn't they just do what they're told? And it's like, yeah, they're getting paid, but at the same time, they should be shown appreciation for, you know, their efforts still. Like that's just a core human need. And so I don't think you want to view it that way. Now, the other thing I think that causes kind of like a mental block with managers showing appreciation to their team members is their mindset around what appreciation should look like. I think sometimes managers think that in order to show team appreciation, they have to like send gift cards or give a fancy gift or, you know, do something that's monetary, when that's not necessarily what's necessary in order to show your appreciation. Now, yes, those things are great and definitely is a means of showing appreciation, but it's not the only way, right? So if that's kind of like what your thought process has been around it, and maybe the reason why you've held back in the past around showing appreciation to your team members, then I want to challenge you to get out of that thinking and think about other ways that you can show appreciation to your team members. Now, I'm going to obviously talk through a couple of things that are non-monetary in this conversation, but I can't obviously discuss everything. So I want to challenge your thinking on that so you think of different creative ways that you can show your individual team members appreciation. So here's where I want to start the conversation before jumping into the ideas. So a couple of months ago, actually, I think it was like early last year, around the same time, I shared this video right here, which talked about what employees want from their managers, which I'll link in the description box below. But I shared this video and I talked about, or I double clicked on the fact that the one thing that all team members want from their managers is to feel seen and heard by them, right? We all have this innate desire within us to know that people around us see us and are actually hearing us. So with that knowledge, you want to remember that any form of team appreciation that you will be doing needs to hit that mark and satisfy that desire. If you're able to satisfy that desire, then you'll know that you're doing it right and that it's landing, right? Make that individual feel seen and heard by you, and you've got it. So let's talk about some practical ways that you can ensure that your team members feel appreciated through being seen and heard. So the first thing you can do is simply say thank you. Now, I know that sounds simple, but 55% of employees say that they have not heard a thank you from their manager. And you might be sitting there thinking, that's a little bit excessive, but it's true. I mean, I was even thinking about it for myself. Like as I was, like I said, meditating about what I wanted to talk about today, I realized like before my two bosses that were my mentors, so because I often talk to you guys about my mentors on this channel, but before them, I had other bosses and I don't remember them ever saying thank you, like at all. And I've always been that type of employee that just gives like 1,001% of me. That's who I am. So I think it's strange that I don't remember ever receiving like a thank you. I remember, in fact, when I first heard it from my bosses who became my mentors, I was actually shocked because I was like, wait, what? This is what somebody does? So I would just want to remind you, like, maybe you think you're doing it. Like, I think oftentimes managers think they're saying thank you because they say it like in their head, or they're thinking to themselves that they appreciate the work, but they don't actually say it. So it could be the case for you where you think you've said it, but you actually haven't said it, right? So I just wanted you to be cognizant about that, it's one thing to think it here, but it's another thing to actually say it. They need to hear the thank you. Now, the other thing I know to be true is that sometimes managers feel a little bit awkward in terms of how to word their gratitude. So maybe you see something and you want to thank somebody for something, but you don't want it to sound like disingenuous. So instead of saying something, you just don't say anything at all. So what I did actually a couple of months ago was I shared on my Instagram a couple of swipe templates around how you can word your gratitude to your team members for different things. And it did really well. Like I looked at the analytics on the post and it had like something like 67 like saves or something, which to me is a lot of saves for something that I think is quite simple, right? But what it highlighted to me is that many of you are feeling a little bit unsure as to exactly what to say. So I'm going to share it here. So here are the categories. So number one is like here's what you can say when a team member knocks it out of the park. Here's what you can say when a team member goes above and beyond. Here's what you can say when a team member powers through a season of crazy or tough. Here's what you can say when a team member implements the course correction that you provided. So let's say you've given them some feedback and they're actually acting on it. Here's what you can say. And also here's what you can say when a team member displays the right behavior. So how you can ensure that they continue to display those behaviors. Now, again, those are just a couple of examples of how you can word things. If you're interested in saving these templates, just go to my Instagram account, scroll back, I think just a couple of months, and you'll be able to find it, save it, and then you'll see in the caption, I give a little bit of my reasoning behind why it's worded the way it's worded, so that it actually lands as impactfully as possible. Now, if you're still having some troubles coming up with the scenario for which you would like to show gratitude for, then I want to encourage you to take a pause and just reflect. I think far too many of us feel this pressure to say something that we say it really quickly before really stopping to think about what we're saying. Okay, so take that time to pause, reflect. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Ask yourself what behavior, skill sets, talents does this person display that allows us all on the team to be successful? What am I inspired by? What is it about them that inspires me? What have I learned from this? What have I learned from this person? Think about that. And then you can, think of the scenario and then word your recognition or appreciation with that scenario in mind. But you first have to pause. It's not going to just come to you right away. Not for everybody. Maybe for some people, it'll come to you right away because you just see it. But there's just going to be some people you have to dig a little bit deeper with, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just that you're not digging deep enough. So you want to pause, reflect, and ask yourself a couple of reflective questions in order to generate the scenario or the specific examples that you can use to show them gratitude for. The second way that you can show team appreciation is actually by using client or customer shoutouts to highlight their impact. I think this is a fantastic way of really solidifying just how much that person's efforts counts. It's one thing to hear it from you, but it's like a whole other level to hear it from a customer. I know, for example, I had somebody that I really, admire on my channel a couple of months ago, Bill Benoist, who was talking about this. And I know for myself too, on our team, that was something that one of our supervisors actually integrated into the team, was sharing what our clients had to say about these specific team members and about how they helped them. I mean, and every time they heard it, they would just absolutely melt, right? Because they know that their work matters so much. So you leverage that, leverage the things that clients are saying. I mean, if your team is doing a fantastic job, they should hear about it from more than just you. Tip number 3 in terms of team appreciation is to celebrate pivotal moments like work anniversaries and stretch goals being reached. These things are absolutely important to celebrate. In a day and age where everybody is looking for some sort of approval, I mean, that's why we have all the issues we have with social media. We got to make sure that at work we are recognizing when people hit their milestones, right? Now, if you have developed a real and meaningful connection with your team member, then you most likely know their goals and whether or not they've hit certain milestones to achieve those goals. And you don't necessarily have to reward them when they hit the end goal. It's the in-between stuff that matters, right? That's why I kept saying milestones, because, we don't want to make people feel like it's the small in-between wins don't matter. They do. So we want to be there to celebrate with them when they do hit those markers. The fourth way you can show team appreciation is by just scheduling out some time in your calendar to write notes. I know that I mentioned this in a video a while back, but something that my team really loved was just me writing out a simple little excerpt for them on maybe their pay stub or whatever, just to let them know that, hey, I see you. You're awesome. Here's why you're awesome, and keep up the good work, right? Something like that goes a long way. And I think I've told you guys on this story, people have kept them. To this day, former team members of mine are still sending me screenshots of things that I wrote them, right? It really does go a long way. Now, if you're a remote team, you can, still buy a pack of cards and send it to your team members, or you can use Postable. Postable is an online card dealer, I guess is what you would call it. I'll link it below for you, but you can literally just type out what you want to say in the card, and it'll script it for you and send it straight to your team member. So you can use that as well. And they usually do every quarter a big sale, 25% off of your order. So it's definitely worth it. It's not a really big price or anything, but it does mean a lot. I think people love to get they just love to get things in the mail, right? It feels a lot more personal. So make sure you're scheduling out maybe 10 to 15 minutes every week to do that, whether it be via Postable or if you're actually writing it out in a card and sending it to them. Just every once in a while to surprise them, let them know that you're thinking of them and that you appreciate them. Number 5 is to ask team members what they appreciate about each other. That way, when you're going into these one-on-one conversations, it's not just about you showing gratitude, but it's also highlighting how other team members see them, right? And so it can go as simple as, hey, just want to let you know that Jenny said that she was really appreciative that you did X, Y, and Z. And I was so happy to hear this, and here's why, X, Y, and Z, right? I think it just means so much to know that somebody else on your team appreciates you. It's not just your manager, and that person even talked to your manager about it. It's just, I don't know. It's just a great way of making someone feel seen and heard in a very holistic way, right? Because it's not just upwards that you're being seen, but sideways as well. So you want to engage in that conversation and ask team members, because the truth of the matter is they might not actually come to you with it, but if you ask them, they'll be like, oh yeah, last week so and so did this. It's just that it's not might not be top of mind for them. you have to remember, like, everybody is fighting their own battles. And so sometimes people forget things, but that's why you're the manager. That's why you have the responsibility to make sure that you're overlooking everything and not forgetting these things, right? So you want to engage in these conversations, pull it out in all your team members, and then share it with the people that it's about. Now, if you want to go deeper and actually learn very practical ways that you can show meaningful appreciation for your team members, and if you want to be an effective leader, and leave behind you a wonderful leadership legacy, then I highly suggest that you check out the details for my new Manager Accelerator program. It's honestly the best program out there for new leaders because it is comprehensive, it's practical, and it's a very holistic approach to people management, which, as we know, is very complex. So definitely check out the details. Book a call with me. On this call, we'll discuss a couple of things like your challenges, your goals, and what the gaps are, and whether or not the accelerator would be for you. Obviously, I don't accept everybody into the program for obvious reasons. I want to ensure that my accelerator students are safe and that you get the results, right? I'm very serious about people getting the results, and I don't want anyone in the program that I don't believe would get the results. So if you feel like, you're the type of person that is a high achiever, like the people that really benefit from my program are the people that are high achievers. They have this deep desire to create a positive, healthy team culture. They want their teams to be the absolute best in the entire organization. I hear that all the time. And you're striving to improve yourself. Like, if that's you, I know this will be a fit for you. So definitely check out the link in the description box below and book your call with me before seats fill up. All right, so that's pretty much it for me. I hope that this video was insightful and helpful for you. And if it was, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other content that I share on this platform every single Tuesday. All right, have a great rest of the week. Do not forget to keep smiling, and I'll see you in the next one.